Did you know 5 simple exercises can fix almost every lower back problem you're dealing with? So let's jump right in with our first exercise, the bird dog. Now, you've probably seen people at the gym doing this movement on all fours and wondered, how is this even helpful for back pain? Well, this simple movement is one of the most effective ways to stabilize your spine, strengthen your core, and eliminate the imbalances that cause chronic lower back pain. Don't worry if you don't have access to a gym. You can easily do this right at your home on a yoga mat or even a carpeted floor. If you do a lot of sitting throughout the day or you've been dealing with nagging back pain, you'll definitely want to learn the correct way to do the bird dog. So here's how you do it. Get down on your hands and knees with your hands directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Keep your back completely flat and your core engaged. Now slowly extend your right arm straight out in front of you while simultaneously extending your left leg straight behind you. Your arm and leg should form a straight line with your torso. Hold this position for 5 to 10 seconds while keeping your hips level and not letting them rotate. Then slowly bring your arm and leg back to the starting position and switch sides. Left arm and right leg. Trust me, if you've never done it before, it is not as easy as it looks. Your core is going to have to work incredibly hard just to keep your body stable and prevent your hips from twisting. So you're going to want to start off with shorter holds and fewer reps, maybe 5 per side to start. The bird dog is amazing because it teaches your core to stabilize your spine while your limbs move independently. This is exactly what your core needs to do during everyday activities like walking, reaching for something, or bending over. Most back pain comes from a weak or uncoordinated core that can't keep your spine stable during movement. The bird dog fixes this directly. All right, now that we've built some basic core stability, it's time to shift the focus to your side body with the side plank. Now, this exercise is great for strengthening your obliques, stabilizing your pelvis, and fixing the lateral imbalances that contribute to lower back pain. These are some commonly overlooked areas of the body when people are trying to fix their backs. By targeting the often neglected side core muscles, it helps to prevent your pelvis from tilting sideways and supports your lower back from the sides, making everyday movements like getting out of bed, twisting to look behind you, or carrying things on one side more effortless and pain-free. If physical activity causes back pain or you've experienced that sharp catch in your side when you twist, the side plank is a must-have in your routine to make your back feel younger and stronger. So let me show you how to do it. Lie on your right side with your right elbow directly under your shoulder and your forearm flat on the ground. Stack your feet on top of each other or stagger them for more stability. Now lift your hips off the ground so your body forms a straight line from your head to your feet. Your hips shouldn't sag toward the ground and you shouldn't pike them up toward the ceiling. Just a straight line. Hold this position for 20 to 30 seconds while keeping your core tight and breathing normally. Then lower back down and switch to your left side. After just a couple sets of this exercise, you're going to feel your obliques and side core start to really burn. But if this exercise is too hard for you right now, you can drop your bottom knee to the ground for support. This is called a modified side plank, and it makes the exercise much more manageable while you build strength. Once you can hold the modified version for 45 seconds, progress to the full side plank with both feet stacked. I'm pretty sure you're going to be looking forward to the 5th exercise because it's one that teaches your body how to hinge properly, which is the movement pattern most people get wrong and the reason they throw their backs out. But more on that coming up. Right now, we're at the McGill curl-up, and this is simple but incredibly effective for spine health. At first glance, it may look like just a partial crunch, but this movement was specifically designed by Dr. Stuart McGill, one of the world's leading spine researchers, to strengthen your abs without flexing your spine excessively. It builds core strength while protecting your lower back from the damaging forces that traditional sit-ups and crunches create. Now, this exercise isn't just about building abs. It's about spine protection. Most back injuries happen when your spine flexes under load, like when you're bending forward to pick something up. The McGill curl-up trains your abs to resist that flexion and keep your spine in a safe, neutral position. By learning to brace your core properly with this exercise, you reduce your risk of injury during everyday movements, like lifting, twisting, or even just getting out of a chair. So to perform this exercise, lie on your back with one knee bent and that foot flat on the ground. Your other leg should be completely straight. Place your hands underneath your lower back to maintain the natural curve of your spine. Now brace your abs as if someone was about to punch you in the stomach. With that brace engaged, lift just your head and shoulders slightly off the ground. We're talking maybe an inch or two. This is not a full sit-up. Hold this elevated position for 8 to 10 seconds while breathing normally. Then slowly lower back down. That's 1 rep. Do 5 reps. Then switch which leg is bent and do 5 more reps. The key is that your lower back stays pressed against your hands the entire time. You're not flexing your spine. You're just lifting your upper body slightly while keeping your spine completely neutral. This teaches your core to create stiffness without movement, which is exactly what protects your back during daily activities. Now that we've focused on building core strength and stability, let's shift gears and dive into a stretch that addresses one of the biggest contributors to lower back pain: tight hip flexors. The couch stretch is one of the most effective movements for opening up the front of your hips. It's a position that targets the hip flexors and quads. But due to modern lifestyles, long hours sitting in chairs at work, tight hips, and reduced hip mobility, many people can barely get into this position without falling over. This stretch not only improves hip flexibility, but it also fixes the anterior pelvic tilt that pulls on your lower back and creates that chronic aching. It's particularly helpful for anyone who sits most of the day, drives long distances, or has that constant tight feeling in the front of their hips. Look, if you've ever stood up after sitting for a while and felt like you couldn't fully straighten your hips, this stretch right here is essential for regaining that natural hip extension. It's also going to make a lot of other exercises you want to perform easier because your hips won't be fighting against tightness. Now, I know it looks intense, but I suggest easing yourself into this. I wouldn't try to go all the way into a deep stretch right at the beginning. You're going to want to find a couch, bench, or sturdy chair. Kneel down facing away from it with your right knee on the couch seat and your shin going up the back of the couch. Your left foot should be flat on the ground in front of you in a lunge position. Now, here's the critical part. Squeeze your right glute as hard as you can. This posterior pelvic tilt is what actually stretches your hip flexor. Without that glute squeeze, you're just kneeling there, getting nothing. Hold this position for 30 to 60 seconds while breathing deeply and trying to keep your torso upright. Don't lean forward, stay tall, then switch legs and repeat on the other side. If maintaining balance is a challenge, you can hold on to something sturdy for support or start with a lower surface like a coffee table instead of a full-height couch. Keep your hips square and facing forward throughout the stretch. Your front knee should track over your toes and your back knee stays on the couch. As your flexibility improves over weeks, you'll be able to get your torso more upright and feel an even deeper stretch in that hip flexor. And finally, the wall hip hinge. Do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, focusing purely on the movement pattern. Make sure your butt touches the wall on each rep and your back stays completely flat. This final exercise takes about 4 minutes. As always, be sure to rest for about 30 to 60 seconds between sets. In total, this routine takes about 25 minutes and addresses the core stability, hip mobility, and movement patterns that cause 95% of lower back problems. This routine, consistently done 3 to 4 times per week, will yield dramatic results. Most people notice reduced pain within the first week and significant improvement within a month. The bird dog teaches your core to stabilize while your limbs move. The side plank strengthens the lateral stability your back needs. The McGill curl-up trains proper bracing without damaging spinal flexion. The couch stretch opens up tight hip flexors that pull on your lower back. And the wall hip hinge teaches you the proper bending pattern that protects your spine. These 5 exercises work together to address every major cause of lower back pain: weak core stability, weak lateral core, poor bracing patterns, tight hip flexors, and incorrect bending mechanics. Fix these 5 things and you fix 95% of back problems. It's that simple.